Hey everyone, so welcome to episode 5, signature number 4. And today we're going to do a tunnel effect. I really hope that you enjoy this. I've used this effect on my other art journal books actually, but this particular one is specifically just for one signature. I do apologize for not releasing more of these episodes sooner. The end of 2019 for me was crazy busy. We had moved. I had gotten a job. I lost my dad. I lost my job. And we've moved again. And now with this coronavirus, I have some extra time on my hands. So I do apologize that these episodes haven't been more frequent, but today we are going to do a tunnel effect on our 4th signature. So come and join me. So this is episode 5 with signature 4. So I just wanted to recap of where we are right now. So as before, I have my 3 signatures that I've already done. So I have my first one, there's my second one, and my third one. And then I also have my cover that I've chosen. So if I put my 3 signatures together and put them inside my cover, okay, as you can see, I have a lot of room still left for some more signatures. I like my books to be very full, so I'm going to probably do about 3 more signatures to fill it up. It's up to you, depending on how wide your spine is and how many signatures you want in your book. That just depends on how many signatures that you prefer. Since all of these signatures are already going to be embellished before I put them in or sew them into my cover, because this once again is a notebook and all I'll be doing is just writing notes. So I like my books quite thick, so I'm gonna make 3 more signatures to go in here. So I just wanted to recap, this is where we're at in this series. Okay, so I'm going to put that to a side. And this here is my 4th signature. Okay, so as I said before, we're going to do a tunnel effect. So I've already pre-done my signature. And for this one, for the tunnel effect, I've only made 3 pages to go into this signature. So this is the first page or the cover page, my second signature, my 3rd page, and then my 4th page. Okay. I already have all my lines drawn out. Okay. And I make sure that this is down really firm into the fold of my signature. Just make sure that all the pages of your signature are cut flush to the cover of the main of this signature, okay? Because I don't want any signature, like I don't want the edges to be popping out. So the tunnel effect, what I'm going to do is I needed to decide how large I wanted my circle of my tunnel. So to do a tunnel effect, you can choose a circle, you can do a rectangle, you can do a square, you can do a heart, any shape that you wish. For this one, I wanted a circle, okay? So I looked around my studio and I found this lid to one of my jars and I really liked the size of it. So if I kind of just place it here on the front, I really like that size. It's not so big and it's not so small, okay? So as I'm doing this, what the tunnel effect is that each page, the circle is done smaller and smaller and smaller until the last page, which is the back of this signature, this page here, which is going to be this. This isn't going to be cut. This is going to have a picture here so that you can see through all of the tunnel effect, okay? And I'll show you how that's done. So what I do, you're probably wondering what these little tabs are. So I started doing this and I miscalculated and I cut through different pages that I wasn't supposed to cut through. So these tabs are just guiding me of what circles I need to cut on each page. Okay, so because this tunnel effect, I didn't want lots and lots of pages. I'll actually have 7 pages within the tunnel. So that means I have only 4 pages of signatures in this one signature. So this is my first page, my second, my third, my fourth, fifth, sixth, and my seventh, and my 8th. And as I mentioned before, I'm not cutting anything here on the 8th. I'll have an image that you can see through the tunnel when it's finished. Okay, this is just to kind of keep me on track. So how I start is that I make sure all of my pages in my signature are right there in that fold, and I get a small bull clip and I put it at the top, because when I stick in my compass, which you'll need a compass, this is a compass with the point and a compass that you find in geometry sets for school kids, and with the pencil. You'll also need an X-Acto knife, and I've used a ruler. Okay, so I have measured the width of the diameter of this circle, and this kind of came to just under about 4.5. So what I did for my compass is that I cut that in half, and this is basically 2.5. Okay, so this is going to be the circle. This is going to be the circumference of the circle that's going to go into my what I'm going to cut on my signature. So before I do that, I want to make sure that I have space enough here and space enough here. I like to leave about an inch from the edge, because if I put it too close to the edge when I turn the pages, it's going to eventually get very weak and probably tear, and I don't want that. So before I poke in my compass, I'm just sort of eyeing it of where I want it to kind of go. So that looks like it's about an inch. It has a good space there. And this looks like it has a good inch there. Okay, so once I am happy with that, up a little bit, okay, then I'm going to poke in. I'm going to make sure that I don't move my pencil, because it is exactly at 2.5 inches. So I'm going to just poke in my compass and try to get it through at least the second page. And then I'm going to just use this part and draw my line. And it's helpful if I just move the book or move the signature. Okay. Now you probably can't see that, but there's my circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the bull clip. I'm going to take this part out. I'm going to, and I need to cut this circle on this page. So that's where my X-Acto knife comes in. I'll do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have cut out this circle from just the front of my signature. Okay, so if I put all the remaining back in, okay, and put this circle aside, the one thing that you have to be really careful is that when you do put in your compass into the hole, try not to wiggle it around too much, because if your hole's too big, and it'll move, and then your circle won't be as even as you would hope it to be. So I have cut out that circle, so now I'm going to move my compass about 1/4 inch less. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not going to measure it, but you want about 1/4. So on this page, because it is my second page, I am being very careful not to move the tip of my compass too much. putting that aside, taking this out, and only cutting this circle on this side because my little tab is telling me it's number 2. So I will do that and come back. So here we have it. I have cut out my second one like that. And I'll probably keep these that I cut out because I can always put them in the book as embellishments or something else. So I'm going to put those circles to the side. Once again, I'm going to put all of my signatures back in. Now I'm going to do the third circle. So you can see now how that's going to look, okay? So once again, I take my compass, I put it in the hole, and I eye about 1/4 inch away from the other edge, like that. So I'm gonna turn it around like that, making sure that I'm not moving the point of my compass too much, because I don't want that. Take these out, take this one out, and lay that flat, and this is my number 3. So I'm actually gonna cut this out. Go slow, cut on the line. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, so once again, I put all of my signatures back in, and that was my third circle. And as you can see, it's starting to form, okay? So I gotta make sure this is number 4. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one, making sure that my signature is really close in that fold before I start drawing. So here's my compass. I put it back into the hole. Once again, I eye about 1/4 inch and I draw. Okay. And I take this apart and I open this up because this is the only page I want to cut. And I will do that. And there's my other one. So that's my 4th one. Right in there, and you can see the effect. Okay, now I'm on number 5 once again, and you just keep on going and going. The only thing is that your number 8, your page, you're not going to cut. You're not going to draw a circle. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going until I get and cut out my number 7 page, and then I will be back and I will show you. All right, so I am back. So as you can see, I have cut out all of the circles through all of my pages, except, as I said before, not the last one. Okay, so that's the effect. There's my tunnel. I really like that. Okay. So now we are going to embellish the circles. And I also went online and I found some very small images because I wanted my images to be small enough so that I could fit them in between the layers of my tunnel so that you can see these images kind of coming through. And the image that I've chosen for the bottom of my tunnel is this one. Okay, Christ's hand there. So first of all, to cut him out and so that I know where to place this, I am going to use this circle that I actually cut out from the center here. So I'm going to use this circle to use this as a template, but I'm going to cut it out a little bit bigger than this circle for my template here, okay? Because I want this image to go a little bit beyond this last circle here. so it's not a tight fit. Can go on the front. I just don't want my pencil marks, but I can erase those where that is. Okay, take my pencil and very lightly kind of go around it. Remember, I'm going a little bit bigger. Okay, there we go. Don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut the roughed out circle. Okay, like that. And these circles that I've made here and cutting out, since they already have the lines on them, I'll probably use them, you know, in my other signatures or for other books that I might, but I'm not going to throw these out because they're pretty neat. Okay, so there is my image. Once again, I want to make sure that this is down really, really well. I'm going to get that bowl clip again. Whoops. Just go to the top, just so I know that all my pages are down where they need to go. So this image is going to go right there. So that's the image that you'll see through the tunnel. Okay, don't know if you can see that very well. Okay, so with that being said, undo that, open up. And now I'm just going to make just a very light circle so I know where I'm gluing it. Okay, that's very, very light. So getting some glue, I just use glue sticks. Actually, I could probably do that on this one. Right. I want to make sure I get all the edges. And gluing it down. There we go. Roughly, take that off, roughly where that is. So if I close that, and there you go. There is my image in the center of my tunnel. Okay. So to make this a little bit more interesting, I've cut out these images and I'm going to fussy cut them because I enjoy fussy cutting, and I'm going to, before I fussy cut them, I'm going to actually glue each of them to the back to my old sheets of paper. I got this from a child's storybook. And so I'm just going to, first of all, glue each of these to the back of this so that when my page flips over, you'll be able to see this at the back and not just a white blank page. Okay, so I'm going to do that and then I will come back. So I glued my images to my children's storybook pages that I ripped out. Okay, and they are going to sort of be interesting, kind of be the backs of these. I kind of made a boo-boo. I should have glued them to this back so that the words, but oh well, I made a mistake. That's what we do in art journaling. We make mistakes and we learn, and it's no big deal because we can just move on. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to fussy cut these. Okay, so, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with them later. So I got my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to, this image that I found, it's just, it was already a pre-cut. So I'm probably just going to go around it because I like it. But I was going to, let's do this little lamb here first, okay? Fussy cut means, it can mean two different things. It could be that you leave, as you cut out the image, that you could leave a border, kind of like this border that's around that, or cut it right on the line. I prefer cutting it right on the line. So when you're doing tunnel books, I really like the idea of placing images inside the tunnel, just off center, so that it gives the tunnel a little bit of interest. There we go. So there's my little lamb. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut all of these images out, and then I will be back. Okay, so I am back. So I've already done that, so I'm going to put that to a side. I'm going to worry about my images here. So the images that I've chosen, and one thing that I forgot to mention is that when I did, I found these images. This one was already a pre-cut, so I didn't find that. But the rest of these images, okay, so I have the angel Moroni here. I have the Calvary Temple. I have a little lamb. I have a couple holding hands, and then I just found her. I thought she was very lovely. She looked serene and at peace. And then the lighthouse, because I really like the lighthouse. And all of these sort of, for me, kind of are spiritual symbols, and so I wanted to add these to go into my book, into my tunnel. So one thing that I forgot to tell you though is that when I found these images online, I went to Pinterest and I just kind of went through. I put the image, or I copied the image onto PowerPoint, because I'd mentioned before I enjoy using PowerPoint rather than Microsoft Word, because the images are easier to manipulate and to size. So I did that, but I made sure that they were really, really small, because my tunnel is really, really small and the images had to fit inside my tunnel. So when I did my images, I did them about 1.5 to 2 inches large, okay? And I also, when I did it, that I printed it onto a little bit thicker paper, like cardstock, okay? Because I wanted my images to be really, really stiff, because as I turn these pages and use this, I didn't want the images to curl up and bend and rip off. So I wanted to make sure that my images, when I printed them off, were quite stiff. And now they're even stronger because I glued them down to my children's storybook page. So that's kind of just a recap of what I did with my images. So before I do that, I'm going to use my ink so that my edges of my images aren't just stark white. So they kind of just blend in, and I like using ink. This is just Distress Ink Vintage Photo. All right, there we go. Put that aside. So I have these images here, and what I wanted to do is that I wanted to try to put at least one image per circle. So I'm not going to put anything around the cover of my circle, but I was thinking I would put the angel sort of on my second circle here. Glue him down so that is like that. And I was thinking about putting also the lighthouse sort of in here a little bit. So one trick to do is that when I do place my images in all of the circles, I don't want my image kind of going over top of my last image here in my tunnel. I want to offset my images so that they kind of just peek through, and so you're just sort of looking at images as you go through the tunnel. That's kind of the idea of it. So I have 2 images on this ring. I just might move this over. So it's like that. I wanted these to kind of go here, up here like this a little bit. And the temple kind of like this. So it's poking up a little bit, but kind of offsetting it. So if that makes sense to you, let me just come in just a little bit more so that you can see kind of what I'm doing here. And then she would be offset a little bit like that. I kind of don't want to cut her off because I really like her. Maybe move this over a little bit, or even on top of here. There we go, a little bit. So if you choose images, kind of just place them around and see where they fit the best. And then the little lamb, I wanted to kind of go in here somewhat, or maybe like right there. It's kind of finicky at the start, but that's okay. Maybe even in here a little bit. Oh, let's see if we can get that in there. Okay, so for now we're just sort of moving things around to see where they go. Okay. And if you want to put more than 1 image on a circle, I wouldn't put any more than 2 images per the circle. Okay. Another thing that I was going to do is that I was going to choose one of these circles, and around the edge of them, I was actually going to sew a satin stitch, like an in and out, like just an up and down stitch, just to kind of give it a little bit more variety. So before I glue all of these in, I'm going to do that stitch. I'm going to use also an awl to do that. So I'm going to choose which circle I should do that. I can do this more than 1 circle, and I might do that. Let's see. I think I'll choose this circle, which I really like, and that's my page 4. So I'm going to take out all my images first of all. I kind of like that setup. And once again, because they're not glued down yet, I can kind of just do a variety and figure things out before they're all set. So I think I'll use number 4. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put this aside. How I'm going to do this is that I'm going to open this up. I'm going to use my awl. Okay, and I'm going to just poke the holes of where my needle would go. And I'm going to be around the edge. Actually, just a thought, before I do that, I'm going to ink all of the edges of all of my circles. So I will start with this. Edge around that. So it's not so white stark. Okay, and there's that one, and this one, okay, and I'm going to do all of my edges, and I'm going to come back. Okay, so as you can see, I have inked around, just lightly around the edges of my circles. And it just kind of gives it a little bit more depth, I feel. Looks a little bit better. Okay. So I think I'm going to do some stitching, I think I mentioned on number 4. Okay, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to use my awl, and I'm just going to poke holes around the edge of my circle. So here I go. And I'm just eyeing this, but I want to make sure that where I'm poking the holes, that the next circle that goes over it, that I'll be able to see the stitching. Just an experiment to see how this is going to work out. I mentioned before just doing a running stitch, not a satin stitch, a running stitch. I'm trying to make sure that or trying to eye it as best I can, the holes that they're kind of the same width apart. So it doesn't matter where I start, I'm going to come up from the bottom. I already have a little tiny knot there. You can see that. And it doesn't matter which way I go, so I'm just going to come in and out. Of the holes that I just previously made. Going in and out. In and out. And that's your running stitch. So you keep on going until you reach the end. And I will do that off camera, and then I will come back and show you how to end that off. I have sewn around my circle, and I'm down to my last hole that I've made with my awl. And since this is the back, I'm going to kind of just pull at it a little bit, and then I'm going to go underneath my knot that I had previously made, like that, so that it's caught underneath my knot. I'm going to go through underneath my knot again, like that. So I'm going to do that twice. And one more time just for measure. Underneath my knot, like that. Before I pull it through, I have a little loop there. I'm just going to go through my loop twice and then pull it just like that, and that ends off my thread. Just so you know, I used quite a large needle. Well, not too bad, with a large eye. And this is just black embroidery thread. Okay, so put that to side. See what that looks like in my book. This is page number 4. Okay, and let's see how that looks. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so you kind of have this sewn look. Okay, I'm probably going to do another circle. So I'm thinking about just this green one here, and that is my number 6. So I'm going to do the same thing with my number 6, and then I will come back. I have done my circle number 6. Put that all there. So I really like the effect of that. Another effect that I thought of as well is to actually write one word going around the one of my circles as well. So I like to embellish the edge of my circles with my images. It just kind of gives it a little bit more, I feel that it gives a little bit more dimension and extra va-va-voom, I guess you would call it, to my page. So let's see. I think I'm going to choose this this circle here. So it's basically my 3rd circle. I think let's see. Yeah, I think I'll go with that one. I do have this washi tape here, so I'm not sure if my ink will go through my washi tape. Let's see. I think for this one, I'm going to actually choose this pink polka dot layer. That layer is my number 5. Okay. So for this one, I'm gonna like zoom in really. There we go. So you can see what I'm doing. So once again, making sure that it's all there. I'm gonna use my bowl clip. Okay, down like that. And then I'm gonna just use it's just a black pilot highliner. See if that works. Okay, I'm actually gonna choose the word love. I've put all my layers together with my bowl clip so that they don't move around as I'm trying to write the word love on this layer. I want to make sure that I actually see the word and it's not upside down. In between my word, I'm going to put a dot and rotate as I go along. I'm going to try to keep my letters as even as I can. If not, that's okay, because once again, art journaling is not a perfect science. And there we go. I really like that. I think for now I'm just going to leave the edges of my other circles alone, or not. I think I'm going to also put some words on this second circle that I have. Looks a little bit boring and blank. So for this one, I'm going to choose, let's see. I think I'll do follow me. So my bowl clip is still there. I think I'll put come follow me. But this should fit here at the end, hopefully. It doesn't, but that's okay. I'm gonna put the dot there, so come follow. Okay. So there, I really like that. It gives it a lot of interest. Okay, so let's I'm gonna keep the bowl clip there. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm gonna put my images in my book, but once again, I'm just gonna place them. So I think for this one, I'm gonna put right there, because the horn in this, because it's very delicate right here, I'm gonna actually glue that down, and it will be, if you can see that, it won't be so delicate if I have it glued down on my circle. Okay, so I'm gonna put that one there. I'm going to put my lighthouse here at the corner, down a little bit. Okay, let's see, I have her off to the side. I might put her on the third one here. Like that. The hands I'm going to have coming down, probably on this one, maybe even this one. There we go. And And remember, as I said before, I want to make sure that my images aren't covering up my bottom image here of my tunnel. And put that right there. Put that aside. Oh, really nice. I like that. Okay, and then my lamb. Let's see, just figuring out what's the best. Maybe I can put it on my, there we go. Lift that up a little bit so I can squeeze that in there. Gotta keep it like that. Bring it on a little bit more. There we go, like that. Okay, I kind of like where that's going. Maybe put her like down a little bit. There, like that. She's lovely. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave those where those are, and I'm going to take off my bull clip very gently because I don't want my images to move around, if I can do this. Okay, and I'm going to take some glue, and I probably will just go through and just tack down some of the corners and then come back and really glue them down, okay, because I don't want them moving around. So let's start with the first one. So I'm going to very gently open up my page. And I'm going to tack down this guy first because I can come back. There we go, like that. And my lighthouse, I want to kind of cover up like that. So I'm just gently tacking things down, just so they won't move. There we go, like that. Okay, so that one, and then I think my next one is the temple. Just gently tacking that down, because I don't want these moving too much. Okay, and tacking this one down. Okay, opening that up, and I can do that, and tacking her down. Him to kind of stick out a little bit more. Just tacking him down. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to actually go back in and use some liquid glue and really make sure that these are really tacked down. So I'm going to do that and I will come back. While they are drying, I've tacked my images down and I've glued them down really well, and I have them underneath a book so that they're pressed and that they're ready to go. So while that's happening, while they're drying, I thought I would do something around this image, my bottom image of my tunnel. So I'm just going to take a fine Sharpie pen and I'm just going to kind of doodle around, sort of maybe make some petals. And I was also going to take my Stabilo and just go around the edge. Okay, so just kind of to finish that off. Okay, so I will come back and show you what this signature, my tunnel signature, is going to look like. Here we are. So this is the completed signature. So here is my tunnel. So I'll kind of put that on a little bit. So there's my image, my bottom image of my tunnel. Okay, and if I flip through, so these images are here. Right there, like that. A little lamb. And then my bottom one. So there is my tunnel signature. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we will see you at our next episode.